following is a special spotlight on the local arts scene from your partners in the arts, Ithaca's Alternative, WVBR.
This is Gregory James. Walking on Water Productions and Finger Lakes New Works Festival will premiere a new musical called Daughters, Hijas, at the Kitchen Theater in June. Here to talk about the musical are co-producers Priscilla Hummel and Courtney Young-Socker, as well as librettist Saviana Stănescu. Welcome. Courtney, what was the inspiration for this show?
Well, the inspiration happened almost exactly 10 years ago, which gives you an idea of how long it can take to create a new musical, particularly when there's a global pandemic in the middle of it. I was finishing up a grad school program, and part of my grad school was they would take us on summer journeys all over the world. And that summer we were in Italy, and I got to go to the Glass Museum on the island of Murano. At that Glass Museum was this exhibit by a glass sculpture artist named Sylvia Levinson. And Sylvia Levinson is from Argentina, but lives in Italy now. And this exhibit was all about this particular time in Argentine history, essentially from the mid-70s to the mid-80s, when about 35,000 people were disappeared by the military junta that was in power at the time. And of those 35,000 people, there are believed to be about 500 who were babies. They were born in detention centers. Their mothers were abducted, and the mothers gave birth, and then the babies were given to the right side of the government, to families on the right side of the government. And this was, I had never heard of this. I had no idea. This exhibit was so touching. Sylvia Levinson had created glass sculptures of baby onesies and bibs and socks and various baby items, one for each of the found disappeared babies. During that time, I also, at that exhibit, I also learned about the abuelas de la Plaza de Mayo, who were the mothers of the disappeared, and then eventually became the grandmothers. Obviously, as time went on, they aged and they became the abuelas and have been searching for their grandchildren. This was all news to me. This is not anything that was covered in my education here in the US. And what I realized there is, wait, these babies are approximately my age. And for whatever reason, that really hit me. As a mother, it hit me. I have 3 children. They were quite small when I was at this glass museum, and it touched me in a way that really surprised me. And I walked out of the exhibit and thought, well, I have to create a musical about this, which was a weird idea, because though I've been in musical theater since I was a kid, I certainly have never created a musical, and I didn't know where to start. So right after that, I moved to Ithaca, New York, and I started a job as a professor at Ithaca College, and I met Saviana Stănescu. And I said, hey, I have this idea, and I don't know what to do with it. Saviana said, ooh, I like that idea. There's a revolutionary component of this story that seemed to touch Saviana, and I'll let Saviana talk about that more. So we created a very rough outline and thought, well, we need to find an Argentine composer lyricist to help us tell this story. I really connected as a mother and a daughter. Saviana connected as someone who rose up against terrorist regimes, not to make light of that. And then we really felt it was important to bring in someone who knows Argentina and Argentine history. So that is where it started. And I'll let Saviana take it from there.
Thank you, Courtney. Indeed, when Courtney came to me with this idea, I totally resonated with it. As a Romanian who was a college student during the revolution in Romania, our dictatorship, I felt really compelled to tell that kind of story that speaks about struggles across generations and about fighting against a totalitarian regime. So it was really the right story for me, because, dictatorships everywhere, unfortunately, have very similar characteristics. So I did my research on Argentina, and I realized, oh, that was happening in Romania as well. That was happening in Romania as well. So it was really a great process for me, because at the same time, it was wonderful to have a bit of a distance when I wrote the characters. And of course, the one of the main characters, Andrea, is a Romanian, Argentinian, American student at NYU. I was an NYU student. Courtney was an NYU student. So basically, the story became the story of 4 women, even 5 if we're thinking of the adoptive mother as well. So it became a story that resonated with me on so many levels. It was a pleasure to think about the outline and to create those characters from different generations. I even gave one of the leading characters, Mariana, my mother's name. I felt so connected to the story. With Julian, I worked in New York City as the founder of Immigrant Artists and Scholars in New York.
And you're referring to Julian Mesri, who is the composer of the music?
Yeah, Julian Mesri and I knew each other from New York City. He was part of a showcase that I coordinated at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe with immigrant artists and scholars in New York. So I knew Julian since he was 19. So it was great to see his trajectory as he has been becoming one of the leading composers and lyricists in New York City and beyond. We brought Julian on board. After we had an outline, I wrote a few scenes that were pretty much choral, and they were sketching the main characters. With Julian, the process was great. As many book writers and composers work, I was writing a scene, then Julian turned part of it into a song. I love Julian's work because he has this gutsy, great energy in his songs. And I thought it was needed for this kind of story that blends revolutionary insight and struggle with family ties and love and connection across generations. So this story became a story in words and music, obviously, that I think it's even more compelling that could have been in a play. I'm mainly a playwright, but in this case, it's such a great opportunity to tell this story with these wonderful collaborators and to tell it as a musical story. The songs bring so much more to a compelling connection of 4 generations of women who find each other. It is about the blood connections, the love lines and lifelines and bloodlines that these 4 generations of women have. And on top of this, of course, I added the father of Andrea, who also lived through the dictatorship in Romania, and as a gay person had to escape Romania and find himself and find who he really is. So all these characters, in a way or another, try to find themselves and be who they truly are, to express their truth.
Priscilla, I understand it took 10 years and maybe you wished it hadn't taken quite so long, but is now a particularly opportune time for this musical to debut?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the number 10, Greg, and you've heard it from Courtney, 10 years of development for Daughters, Hijas, a new musical. This is WOW's 10th season. So it's a perfect stars aligning kind of moment in terms of where WOW is in our history and where this beautiful new musical is in its history. And we could not be more thrilled to be co-producing this beautiful, moving new piece with the Finger Lakes New Works Festival. I saw the workshop production of this last year and was moved to tears and left thinking, I see a bright future for this musical, and wouldn't it be incredible for WOW, whose mission it is to produce both existing and new works of musical theater, to help foster this show along into its next stage of its journey. And it was an easy yes for Courtney as executive artistic director. And of course, Saviana and Julian were overjoyed to know that a full production would be coming so soon after the workshop. But to more directly answer the question about why now, you've heard from Courtney and Saviana about this very tumultuous and dark time in history when the story takes place. And you know, we're in a time right now that is not too far from the experiences while, what we're experiencing in the United States is certainly not exactly the same, there is a lot of turmoil and a lot of division and a lot of unjust things that are taking place under this current administration. And a lot of people are in a very dark place. And what this musical does is it offers a sense of hope amidst the backdrop of these very dark times. There is the passion and the determination of this generation of women to reunite with their families. And so we like to describe this show with the tagline, a heart-forward, woman-centered story celebrating the transcendent relationship between mothers and daughters. And that is what is at the heart of this musical.
The reason that we are keeping it Daughters Hijas is it's important that people know that this is an international story. And there are moments when it is told in a bilingual way. And that is central to the story, really. It is a story about daughters everywhere, but it is also very rooted in this actual event that happened in Argentina.
And despite the serious and heavy topics, I like people to know that actually it's a funny musical as well. We have scenes that
It is.
have humor, and there is this energy of the young people. There is this energy of the connection and the passion and love that brings a certain energy to this musical. It does address really serious topics and dictatorships and serious, grave issues, but also it's a musical about love and connection, and I think people can resonate with it even if they don't know the story.
It's very important to us that we are telling the story of the connection of these characters, and we are certainly not depicting events that happened during this time period. It's the context for the musical, but it is not what the musical is about. As Priscilla and Saviana said, it is about love and connection and the enduring qualities of love and connection.
Priscilla, what is the performance schedule for Daughters Hijas?
Daughters Hijas has a preview performance on June 4th and an opening night on June 5th, and we are running through June 14th at the Kitchen Theater. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays are 7 o'clock performances, and our Sunday matinees are at 2 o'clock, and a running time of 90 minutes. Folks can get tickets at kitchentheater.org/Hijas. That's HIJAS. And you can also call the Kitchen Theater box office at 607-272-0570.
Is there any age recommendation for the audience?
Yes, we are recommending this show for audience members ages 11 and up. So we're very happy. It's a multi-generational audience experience. And because of the content of the show, having moments that, are honoring the historical events, we recommend that it's tweens, teens, and adults.
What a beautiful Mother's Day gift this would be for someone to go to see Daughters with their mother.
We should say a little bit about the fact that we developed this musical in different workshops.
Yeah.
Cherry Art, Ithaca College. So we'd like to thank all the theaters and the friends and the partners who helped us develop this new musical. So we'd like to thank Sam Bagling at the Cherry Art. We'd like to thank people from the Ithaca College, to Steve Tenake, Gavin Mayer, and everybody, all our colleagues who have supported us.
We're so grateful to the staff at Kitchen Theater Company, Emily Jackson and Ben Hummel, for working with us to make sure that Daughters Hijas has a successful Ithaca premiere this summer.
As is quite evident with all of this, the production is co-produced by Walking on Water Productions and the Finger Lakes New Works Festival, but it really is a collaboration with other community organizations. And that's my favorite thing about musical theater. It is the most collaborative art. We need everyone involved and are so grateful for the support that we've had so far, and hope that people will come out and enjoy Daughters Hijas, a new musical.
I want to thank Priscilla Hummel, Courtney Young-Socker, and Saviana Staniescu for taking the time to talk to us about a new musical called Daughters Hijas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.